So, Marcel Preston of Sky Terminal, it's great to have you here for this interview for Revival magazine. Thanks so much for coming in.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
So, you write and record music. How did you originally get interested in doing that?
You know, I guess music has been around in my life. You know, right from the day when my mom came home from guitar lessons, and she was like, "Oh, you know, I learned how to play the guitar," and then I was like, "Oh, cool," and then like, "What'd you learn?" And so I would basically glean off her what she got from the music lessons, and then, you know, it was actually really neat because she'd be like, "Okay, you can do the dishes, or you can spend 15 minutes practicing the guitar." I'm like, huh, easy. And anyway, so that's kind of how the interest started, because I didn't want to do dishes. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but it's really neat to see how, you know, how a good influence like that, you know, where people are encouraging you and pushing you forward. It's neat to see how that can turn into good things.
Yeah, and so down the line, you've been going with your band Sky Terminal for a little while. Why did you decide to call yourselves Sky Terminal?
Well, Sky Terminal for me, I mean, the name represents really like heaven and how we can be carriers of heaven. You know, we can take what's in heaven and we can share it with people around us, you know. And so, I mean, really the name just came from a big brainstorm, you know. A friend of mine got together over text messages, and it was probably, I mean, if you looked at the list of text messages, it was kind of a long kind of like, you know, list till we got down to like, okay, you know, space terminal, that's too out there, you know, terminal in the sky, oh, it's close. Then we kind of whittled it down, but no, it's you know, it's fun, and it really represents, you know, my heart for music. And
what's your favorite song on your album, Don't Close Your Eyes?
Ooh, probably, I mean, my favorite's probably Tonight. I mean, it's just, I mean, that song is really just talking about, you know, heaven and just kind of, you know, God and that whole beautiful sense of, you know, coming back, you know, coming to heaven basically, and it's really cool. But it's just got a fun feel to it as well.
What is your process of writing your songs? Do you start off like with an idea, or do you mainly kind of write stuff while you're in the studio recording?
Yeah, I try not to stick with just one process, because, I mean, I figure like if I'm on the guitar, you know, my fingers will usually go to the familiar places, and then I find that, you know, some songs can start sounding the same. So I really like, actually my favorite way is I'll pull out my phone and the video feature on it, and then, you know, so for one, it's visually stimulating. And so, you know, if you're looking through your phone, through your videos, you're like, oh yeah, I remember where I was, I remember what I was thinking. Yeah, so sometimes I'll even write without a guitar. And then when I do write with a guitar, the video really helps, because you can see exactly where your fingers were. You know, if you had some kind of crazy chord position, it's not hard to kind of like to figure out, right? So I try to allow more time for creativity instead of like thinking about things, if that makes sense.
So you guys were nominated for a Juno Award this year. Can you tell me like what the experience was like, how you felt being nominated?
Yeah, it was such a fun thing to be a part of. I mean, when we got nominated, I mean, just like, it just caught me right off guard, and I was like, "Whoa, we just got nominated for Juno. That's Canada-wide. That's huge, you know." And so, I mean, we were really thrilled and honored. And the ceremony just happened recently. We didn't take our category. A band called Down Here did. You know, I've been fans of them for a while, so I'm very happy to lose to them, if you will. But, you know, it was just such an amazing experience. I mean, they really treated us well, and you know, such a fun thing.
You're also a worship leader and currently heading up the Fresh Wind Band. So how do you find the experience of being on tour and kind of worship leading in maybe in a church setting on a Sunday morning service? How are those different for you?
Well, Sky Terminal for me is definitely an expression of worship. But for me, that's more of the expression, where I can take this outside of the church, you know, and just play the music and just share my heart in a different context. I mean, I love actual worship leading, where you're working with, you know, a Sunday morning congregation, or wherever, you know, wherever we are in the week. But, you know, taking the same idea, but just expressing it, or taking the same idea, which is, you know, we worship out of spirit and truth, right? And so, you know, we can shape our spirit and the truth however we want musically. And so, I mean, it's cool that you can do one thing and then do another where you're really leading people and bringing them to that place as well. So, I mean, they're two very similar things, just in a slightly different context.
So do you really feel like you're worshipping when you're on tour with Sky Terminal?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my goal for me is always, like, I don't want to just perform, I want to be expressing, right?
Yeah.
And it's different. You can tell when someone's just putting on a show, and then when someone's just genuinely expressing what's on their hearts. And I mean, that's what music to me is meant for.
Yeah, it's amazing that you get to do that in like different ways. And you and your beautiful wife, Ruth, you just released an album, Unfailing Love. Can you tell me a bit about that project, a bit about what the CD is all about and where that came from?
Yeah, so I guess this worship album is like a worship album for the church. You know, we really wanted to create songs, you know, fresh from our hearts, you know, for the church. And so, I mean, it's really neat. Some of the songs in the album, we actually just, you know, we just had the drummer in there and we did everything kind of spontaneously. So all the arrangements and just the progression of the song just really flows naturally. And so we really wanted to capture kind of that live aspect of worship, but be able to really shape it in studio, just, you know, just how we want to. So, I mean, we were really excited about that. I mean, some of the songs, I think one song is, I mean, we did split it up into 2 tracks, but it's probably 15 minutes. But, you know, there's other songs on the CD that are, you know, shorter songs, and they're just really concise and normally arranged, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I really love the way that, like, even though it is studio recorded, there are moments in the album that it does feel like you're in a live worship set. It's really nice. There is some kind of, like, the vocals, it has that kind of live feel, and it really takes you into the moment of worship. It's such a great album. It's really cool.
Thank you.
So just to finish up, I want to ask, do you have any new projects coming up, either kind of worship-wise or with the Sky Terminal Band? Are you kind of going on tour soon? Anything to look out for? Yeah,
well, we're always building. I mean, right now we just released a worship album. We've had Sky Terminal's Don't Close Your Eyes out for exactly a year now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually exactly a year ago. And so we are building towards the next CD for that as well. Ruth is also an amazing songwriter and has some fun, like, rock stuff as well, so we'll be working on that. We also, I mean, with the band Sky Terminal, we're starting to build the next album right now. So we have a lot of songs in pre-production. And so we're really just letting the first album breathe, but then kind of thinking ahead and constructing the next one as well.
That's really exciting. I'm so excited to see what you guys bring out in the future, and see what happens with your work. Marcel, thank you so much for coming in. It's been great.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.